What's up, YouTube? I was just sitting here and I was thinking, I had put up a little sideshow of my aunties. And, I just got to thinking about it. It's like, I'm grateful that they were in my life, the 22 years, that I had with them. And growing up, it was kind of like weird, Now that I sit back and look at it as an adult, I can remember, like, I guess I probably was about 7 or 8, driving around in a limousine back in the days. Me and my little cousins were like all the same age now, but we used to go different places and people would stop us, which I guess looking at it back then, I guess they seen them as being famous, but I just seen them as being my auntie, And people would stop us and wanting an autograph and just sitting there asking them different questions, and I would be like looking like as a little kid, like, wow, these are my auntie, and people stopping and wanting autographs. And now that I look at it now, I'm like, wow, they were famous to people that didn't know them. But growing up, those were just my auntie. I didn't see them as being famous or conjoined twins, I knew they were different because that was the first time I had ever seen anybody with their heads stuck together, And they did everything that anybody, without being conjoined did. They smoked, they cooked. They slept. The only thing that they didn't do was drive. My uncle, he used to drive around in black limousine. And some people that probably knew him back in the day, my uncle had like a black limousine that we used to ride around in. And people, I guess, used to like pull up on the side of us. And we'd be like looking out the window as little kids, like, hi. And my aunties and stuff would be in the back with us. So they'd be back there smoking their cigarettes and drinking their coffee. They love cigarettes and they like coffee. I mean, they were like chain smokers. And I remember like shit growing up, and it's like the house would be full with cigarettes. And I had asthma as a little kid, so I'm like, damn, they smoke too many cigarettes, And I think maybe that's why I don't like cigarettes today, because shit, I used to always be around it. But, growing up, those was my aunties, and, seeing them on TV and in the papers and in Jet magazine and on different talk shows, and I would be looking like, those are my aunties, they on there, they talking, and they got their cigarette in one hand, and it was fun growing up with them. I miss them dearly, and my grandmother, now that Tyler Perry has a skit, talking about a Madea. Shit, I had a Madea back in the 60s and the 70s, and that was my Madea, and she wasn't nothing like the character now, but, just giving a little bit of my life, growing up with Mccarther twins, that's what people call them, but they passed back in 92. I was 22, my daughter was 2, so she didn't get a chance to really grow up with them, but I had 22 years with them, and it was a blessing, and I miss them like crazy. Every time I see like different things that come up on the internet with conjoined twins, I'm like, man, I miss my aunties. And now that a lot of kids are being born conjoined at the heads, and my aunties, they lived like that until passing. And even when they passed, they didn't get them separated. They buried them together, side by side. And it's like crazy now that I'd be like, why would you want to separate these twins? God brought them in the world conjoined. So I feel like, me personally, that if I had kids like that, I would keep them joined at the heads, because, that's the way God brought them into this world. And there's so many kids being conjoined and they're getting separated at birth. And back then, you know, it wasn't an option. It's like they always said that if one of them was separated, then one of them would, you know, end up being retarded or, you know, wouldn't make it. So my grandmother just kept them the way God brought them into this world, and they lived a successful life. They went to college, you know, going to school for nursing until their passing. And, you know, I feel like if they lived as long as they did, you know, why can't the next person live as long as they choose, you know, separate them? It wasn't an option for my grandmother, and I'm glad that she didn't separate them at birth, because I guess it was like kind of different growing up with conjoined twins, you know, as aunties, and then just being around them and just having that experience, you know, being with somebody that was different. And now that I'm out and I see people with like a disability, you know, I teach my kids not to stare, not to point, not to talk about them, because that shit is rude. And I remember growing up, and I used to see a lot of that, you know, little kids pointing. And, you know, just because somebody's different, but I didn't see a difference. You know, I love my aunties to the day they pass, and I still love them. I still think about them. So, I don't know, I just felt like I needed to come in and talk about it, because when I was looking at the pictures I had put up, it was like just bringing back memories. Like, man, I wish I would have had 22 more years, you know, to be with them and have my kids to grow up with them, you know, so they can really appreciate life and know that, you know, you can be different and still have a successful life. So that's all I wanted to come in here and say. So I will see you guys in another video. So see you later. Bye.